Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Second Cup of Coffee. Pastor Tom here with you. We're in week 2 of our new series called When, W-H-E-N, with a question mark. It's when do I move into the promises of God? Last week we talked about out of 2 Samuel 5, verse 22 through the end of the chapter, David inquiring of the Lord. And the first stop you got to make on this trip is you got to ask God. We went over 3 things. Wanted you to kind of pray through. Hopefully you were able to grab a hold of those and pray through them. If you don't know what those are, skip back to last week. You can find us YouTube on our app or on Instagram or Facebook. So find us one of those places, catch that one, and it'll catch you up pretty quick. If you haven't subscribed or liked or shared, please do that. I think that it'll be encouragement for somebody who you may know that's trying to hear God and know when they're supposed to do something. So this week we're going to talk about hearing. You can't just inquire, you got to set your heart to hear. David did that. He inquired. God said, it spoke to him specifically. You shall not go up, circle around behind them, and come upon them in front of the mulberry trees. Now, this is a second inquiry David has with the same enemy, and God gives him 2 separate strategies. And I love how God speaks to him so specifically. And it shall be when you hear the sound of marching in the tops of the mulberry trees, then you shall advance quickly, for then the Lord will go out before you. God speaks to him specifically and in a language he understands. A military man's going to know what marching sounds like, even in the treetops. So that doesn't mean he's sitting in the top of the tree. I don't know how all of that played out, but he knew the specific sound he was listening for. God will speak to you in specifics if you set your heart to hear what he has to say. So my challenge to you this week, last week you inquired, this week make a decision to hear God. Go below your soul. Your soul's going to want to repeat what you've already done because it knows the end result, or at least it thinks it does. Don't do that. Take David's advice. Listen to what God says, even if it's different than what it was before. And this is a key. He will speak to you clearly, concisely, and in a language that you can understand. All right? Those are your keys. Look for that, write it down, and make a point to hear what God says now that you've had taken time to inquire of him. We love you. Next week, we're going to talk about the time to act. Some of you, hopefully you've been hanging on. You're like, that's what I came for. I want to know when God's going to release me to my promises. That's awesome. Come next week. We'll talk through that. We love you. God bless you. And we'll talk to you soon.